After 13 years since the original Avatar, Avatar: The Way of Water is in theaters this weekend. I got to see it early, and here's my thoughts on James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water. My name is Ben Friedman. The Kings won. Light the beam. And today we are talking Avatar: The Way of Water. Up next. All right. Hello, my name is Ben Friedman, and with me is my co-host, bobblehead Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby, say hello to the Beniverse people. Thank you, Mike. And today, he and I, we are not talking the Sacramento Kings winning against the Toronto Raptors. We are talking Avatar: The Way of Water. This is the newest Avatar installment, again, 13 years after 2009's Avatar. This is, again, directed by James Cameron. This film sees the returning cast of Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, and Sigourney Weaver. And just like the original Avatar film, this film promises technological brilliance and the demand to see it on the big screen. James Cameron's been talking a big talk these past few weeks in the news, and does he deliver? It's James Cameron. Of course he delivers. When has this guy not delivered? This guy doesn't miss. He simply doesn't miss. He is the Mike Bibby of directors. The guy just doesn't miss. This guy is so impressive. This is an achievement by James Cameron. It truly is. We talk about it so often. The director, what a director brings to the table. And what James Cameron brings to the table, it's MVP level stuff. No one else can do what James Cameron does on a day-to-day basis and while making films. There is an attention to detail that Cameron understands. There is a level of just world building that no one else achieves. There is a level of spectacle that no director can compare to. This is a guy who thinks and understands what audiences want, what they are looking for, while filling in the substance of his own style within there and what he believes. This film, like the first Avatar movie, is about environmentalism, and it is about invaders coming in and taking over a land that they don't understand. It does have some of those similar beats to the first film, and that works so well to this. It gives it such a strong thematic core at its center. What I have been advocating forever is that there has been this argument online, on film Twitter, wherever you want to call it, that the first Avatar made no cultural impact. This film grossed $3 billion. I went to see the re-release earlier this year on a Sunday night, and it was packed, sold out screening. 13 years later, the first Avatar sells out on a rescreening when I saw it like a week late, when it had already been in theaters for a week. That's a cultural impact. It's one of the most popular rides at Disney World. That's a cultural impact. A film grosses $3 billion. That's a cultural impact. James Cameron, a director who has done Titanic along with Terminator and Avatar, that's cultural impact. There is an understanding to who this man is, to what his vision is, and to what Avatar is. And that's where this film works so well, because James Cameron understands what he wants to do with the world and has fleshed it out. He just did an interview where he talked about this. He treats it the same way Lord of the Rings treated those books, and then how Peter Jackson treated those books to bring to life the movie. James Cameron has a plan built out for all of these Avatar sequels. He's already talked about how he has 3, 4, 5 in mind, how he has those stories written out in his head, how he, in some cases for 3 and 4, he has those stories for 3 already filmed. That's what this man understands. And that's what's so rare in filmmaking these days, and so rare in 21st century studios in Hollywood. They make a movie, they make sequels out of it to make money, and again, that's what James Cameron is doing too. I can't just say that like James Cameron is not playing that game. But what makes him different versus everyone else in Hollywood right now, seemingly, is that James Cameron has a vision. There is a level of style, of substance that James Cameron brings to the world, where these other people, it's just like, okay, we need to put out a film. Take a film series that James Cameron has been trashing, for instance, recently. He's been making fun, he's been poking shots at the MCU. Compare the visuals in Doctor Strange and this Multiverse of Madness to their TV shows, to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, to this film, to Avatar The Way of Water. It's night and day. There's just an attention to detail and a care that James Cameron puts into what he is making that Marvel is not allotting their filmmakers to do right now. And that's a huge difference. And yes, does James Cameron get the benefit of 13 years? Yeah, of course he does. He does get 13 years to just iron out these details, but that's what makes it special. This is somebody who is pouring his life and soul into this movie, and you feel it. Going back to my review specifically, you feel everything in this movie. This is a very visceral experience. This is an experience that needs to be seen in theaters. This doesn't work anywhere near as efficiently on your TV. Cameron understands that too. He makes it a rewarding experience to enjoy on the big screen. This film is, like the first film, 3D, and the 3D is spectacular. Absolutely gorgeous. There are visuals in here that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Some of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my life achieved within this film, specifically with the new tribe, the underwater tribe that we see in Avatar: The Way of Water. It's just incredible. There are shots where a character is diving in and out of the water and the camera is following them. And I was sitting there and I was just like, how? How is he doing this? How is he achieving that? Like, that is such a visually hard thing to do and make it feel so realistic. But why the visuals work so well, and they have always worked so well for James Cameron, the film doesn't just rely on the visuals. There is more to this film. And Avatar: The Way of Water doubles down on the story of Avatar. If the first Avatar movie was an introduction to the world of Pandora, then Avatar 2 is not only welcoming you back to this world, but it's exploring more of that culture. It's exploring different tribes there. It really is world building at its just some of its finest. It's pretty impressive. You just like, you're left visually amazed by what you're seeing, but you're also understanding what makes the people near the water different than the people who live in the forest, and the different cultures, the different skills that are required to achieve that. And it just allows us to just go more into this world and find more and more to just dive into and understand a culture. It is, again, us exploring a world. That's what it is. James Cameron is a documentary filmmaker as well, who has been so interested in the sea. And in some ways, that's what he is trying to capture in this film for us. He is trying to show the amazement that he feels while he is discovering and put that on screen. So when we are watching this film, we are feeling him trying to represent that feeling of discovery and exploration and wonder as we go into this new world. And it's that style, it's that knowingness, it's him being so in tune with what interests him and what makes him just feel so giddy about exploration, that emotion comes through the screen. And there's an excitement when we're going through new lands, when we're going underwater, when we're meeting new people, when we're seeing how these people work together to form a tribe, how they work together with the sea. It's so interesting. This film follows Jake Sully, who now has a family. In this film, Jake Sully is on the run from the sky people, as they call them, the humans who have come back from Earth to invade Pandora. They are after Jake Sully and his family after the events of the first Avatar movie, which requires this family to go and seek help from the native water people, basically so that the forest people won't be attacked for their quote-unquote sins. That's the plot of the movie. What really worked for me in this movie was, I like the first Avatar movie, as I've already clearly stated. It's definitely not the most original screenplay. I think that works to its benefit, but it isn't anything shocking. The story doesn't have much substance. It really is a fish out of water story, and him learning to be with the Na'vi and him falling in love. What this film is it actually is a story about family. This is a group of people coming together, and there's a literal emotional arc about family, and they have all these bonds, and we get to see Jake Sully interact with his kids, with Zoe Saldana's character, etc., etc., and we get this Sully family dynamic. In doing so, it gives the film emotional gravity. It gives it stakes. When anything happens, when they're being hunted down, when their lives are ever at danger, you care and buy into these characters even more because you understand this family more. It's an actually pretty compelling family dynamic. So while I won't say that this screenplay is particularly not original, but isn't anything, revolutionary, it works. It works in a really compelling way, and they add emotional stakes into this movie that I bought into more than I bought into the first film. It raises the stakes of the storytelling involved, and in doing so, it allows us to buy in more into this world because we're not only just buying into Pandora, we're caring about this family in Pandora and what happens to them. This film, like I said, Avatar: The Way of Water, you need to see it on the biggest screen. It's my biggest takeaway. I don't know if I'd ever actually buy Avatar: The Way of Water and watch it on my 65-inch. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to work as well. I don't think it's going to look as good. That's okay. Sometimes movies are allowed to just be fun, theatrical experiences. But the best thing about Avatar: The Way of Water is I get to leave the theater and just have that experience. Is it a top 10 movie of 2022? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's one of my 10 favorite films of 2022. Is it one of my 10 favorite theatrical experiences that I've had in 2022? It's probably my top 3, maybe even my favorite. It was pretty incredible to see it in theaters. James Cameron understands that. He values that. He cares that you enjoy seeing something on the biggest screen and the visceral reaction you get to it. It's almost like an amusement park, as Scorsese has called the MCU. That's kind of what this film is at times. It is just visual wonder. You get to just be transported. You get to just have a great time for 3 hours. And then, I get to come home. I get to talk about it for my job. I get to write about it, what James Cameron's impact in filmmaking has been, what this trilogy or 5 films or whatever he has, what that means, how much resources Disney is putting into it, what it's going to do to the park, what's its Oscar chances? Does he have a chance to win Best Director this year and beat Steven Spielberg or Sarah Polley or any of the other people who are going to be nominated? I get to do that. I get to have fun with it. But ultimately, what I love about Avatar, I just got to see a really damn good movie in the movie theaters and have 3 hours of just fun. And that's what I love about Avatar. And that's why it's a huge recommendation. This is the ultimate 3 out of 4 star movies. And that's all that I needed this movie to be. In that way, it achieves everything that I thought this movie needed to achieve. It is so impressive. It is worth the watch. You're going to have fun. Is it on the long side? Yes. Does James Cameron maybe need some editing in this film? I would maybe argue this film should be shorter, but it ultimately doesn't matter. This is what James Cameron wanted to do, and you know what? He's earned that right to do that, and who am I to give him notes? So with that all said, Avatar: The Way of Water, go see it in theaters. Go see it on the biggest screen you can. It is a 3 out of 4 star movie for me. Go check it out. I think you're going to have a blast. And early prediction right now, this film is going to gross $2 billion so quickly. This film could even break the first one. I think what is going to happen is maybe if people aren't even excited, they're going to see this movie. They're going to tell other people, you need to see it in big screen. It's just going to keep building momentum and momentum. Remember, the first Avatar only grossed $70 million opening weekend. It wasn't like there's one of these $200 million opening weekends like an Avengers or a Spider-Man or a Star Wars. It's not that. It just needs to gross a respectable amount. And then there's no real other studio blockbuster coming out until Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in late February. That means it's going to have all of December, all of January, and a majority of February to just rack up money and keep going. And people are going to keep seeing it. There's going to just be a lot of people who are just let's go see Avatar. There's nothing else to see. Oh, we need a Christmas movie. Oh, I've heard how much fun this movie is in the big screen. oh, I have to check it out in 3D. Continue rolling that amount of money. And I think it is just going to be an avalanche effect where it is, you're going to look up and you're going to be like, this film's already grossed $2.5 billion. How did that happen? That's what Avatar is going to be. That's my prediction. This film's going to be big. I had a great time with this movie. You know what? Give me Avatar 3. James Cameron deserves this, and he did a good job with this movie. I was impressed. I don't know how you don't give him Best Director for this. But with that all said, that's my review of Avatar: The Way of Water. Check it out in theaters, biggest screen, pay for the 3D, do yourself that favor, and have a great time. Have a great time at the movie theaters, just as James Cameron intended. This is a blast. Anyway, my name is Ben Friedman, here from the Beneverse. If you like this review, remember to like and subscribe. And if you don't like this review, like and subscribe anyway. It's the holiday season. Give me some love. My name is Ben Friedman. That's Mike Bibby. Light the beam. Thank you all for watching this video. Take care. Bye-bye.